Well, someone's awfully early to the party, little kitty. Were you that eager to see me? Oh, you're just excited to have some good food. Well, I can't say I blame you. Although, there is something I should mention about that. You see, I did think at first that maybe it would be suitable for us to go to a restaurant like most people do. But then I thought, we're not like most people, are we? You and I, we're the furthest thing from normal that can possibly exist without crossing the boundaries. Isn't that right? Well, my point is, little kitty, why do things the way people normally do them? I thought that it might be a bit more appropriate to have you come to dinner at my place. Well, yeah. Do you have an issue with going to my house for dinner? What is it, little kitty? Why do you seem so nervous all of a sudden? Oh, really? You've been doing your research about dating standards? And how exactly did that end up going? Oh dear, little kitty. You've been watching movies about teenagers going on dates? I think I already know where this is going, little kitty, but why don't you tell me if I'm mistaken? I see. So typically, when teenagers are alone together, things aren't exactly cute and romantic. You don't need to worry about that, little kitty. What I have planned is perfectly appropriate. Don't worry, and don't believe everything that the media tries to sell you about this stuff. Honestly, they just do whatever makes them the biggest profit. That isn't us, though, kitty. Well, not you. You seem to have a genuine heart of gold, little kitty. And I have a heart that needs a little bit of work, but I am doing my best. For you, little kitty. Now, how about we go inside and I'll tell you everything I have planned, okay? And I'm sure you will see that it is much better than going to an overcrowded, overheated restaurant where we would be yelling in order to try and hear each other properly. Oh yes, little kitty. You're not the only one who is doing your research. I did look around to see if I could find a good restaurant for us to go to, but all of them seemed to be seriously overbooked for this evening, and I figured you might not want a place that was too crowded, right? My place is perfect for that. After all, my parents are always away for work, and, well, we don't take up much space now, do we? I didn't think so. Oh? You could take up a lot of space if you wanted to? Well, I suppose that does make sense. After all, based on what I've heard about normal cats, they do tend to act like they own the house they live in, and any house they go to after that. So I suppose you could take up quite a bit of space calling the whole house your own, couldn't you? Oh yes, little kitty. I would actually find that almost adorable. Really, it would show that you really enjoy the space that I've created with the time I've been given by myself. And, considering it's only the first date, trying to take my entire house, well, that's a surefire sign that we'll move in together someday, don't you think? Relax, little kitty, I'm only teasing. Mostly. Now, dinner isn't ready just yet. After all, I did expect you to arrive just a little bit later, but we are having some spaghetti with meatballs and fresh sauce. Oh yes, little kitty. It is a bit of a messy dish depending on how much you like to slurp up the noodles, but I figure it's a perfect food for a first date. After all, it is traditionally romantic, and if we can handle each other eating a bit messy, well, we can handle anything, can't we, little kitty? Exactly. I do make some good points every now and then. Other times, I just make very, very sharp points, which I then try to cut teeth with, don't I? Oh yes, little kitty. I have been practicing a few jokes. After all, I have heard that those go over well on first dates. Other times, not so much, depending on the joke, but I do want to try every method that I can think of to make this a success. Why is that? Why do you think, little kitty? Do you really think you're the only one who hopes this goes well and turns into a full-on relationship? You thought you were. Well, I suppose I'll need to be a bit more direct about how I feel about you. Would you mind that, little kitty? It depends on what that entails. You're very clever, aren't you? Well, I suppose it would be beneficial for you if you knew that my definition of being more obvious about the way I feel about you would include holding your hand during class, maybe kissing you occasionally during lunch. You wouldn't be bothered by that, would you, kitty? Oh, you're not sure. And why is that? You're worried about what other people will think of us. Well, I don't blame you. After all, I've done a pretty good job cementing in my reputation as being rather sadistic. But I don't understand why anyone would think that... Oh... You're worried that people might think I'm pressuring you into the relationship. Well, I do suppose that makes sense. After all, I do have a habit of forcing other people to act as my puppets while I'm the puppet master. Well, I did that a few times. Not too many, actually. But I do understand what you mean. Oh, hang on. Ah, perfect. The spaghetti's ready. And the sauce looks like it's warm enough to be served. Are you hungry? You're such a cute little kitty. You know that, right? Oh, really? Not enough people tell you that, huh? Well, I guess I'll just have to pick up their slack, won't I? Unless, of course, you'd be bothered by me doing that? Oh, of course, little kitty. It'll always be genuine. Any compliment I give you is always genuine and true. No matter what anyone else thinks of me, I'm nothing if not honest with the people I love. Of course I love you, little kitty. How could I not? You are you, after all, and you truly are amazing. Now, here's your plate, and... What is that you're holding, little kitty? My. You brought dessert for us? But I could have sworn I told you that we were going to a restaurant. Surely you must have known that you wanted to make something for me. To show me just how much you care? Well, you certainly know the way to my heart, don't you, little kitty? My twisted, sadistic heart. But it also happens to be a heart that absolutely loves homemade sweets. And hopefully yours is a heart that enjoys homemade meals and extremely cheesy cartoons for kids. Oh yes, little kitty. I picked out an extremely romantic film for us to watch, and that just so happens to be Lady and the Tramp. Yes, little kitty, that is one of the reasons that I decided to make spaghetti and meatballs for us. But I also figured, well, if Disney doesn't know romance, then who does? I know, they certainly don't have the best track record with stuff like that, but what better way to have fun on a first date than by reliving some childhood memories, and hopefully being able to enjoy it past all of the unpleasant parts. Yes, little kitty, I am well aware of the fact that you are a cat and not a dog. However, considering the context of the film, and the context of our relationship, it might be a bit fitting, don't you think? How so? Well, little kitty, you've always been a bit more well-behaved in class. And me? The exact opposite, little kitty. You know that better than anyone. So in a way, we're kind of like Lady and the Tramp. You know, a well-behaved model citizen falling for a bad boy without a collar. Collars of shirts don't count, little kitty. I would have thought you knew this by now. After all, you don't wear a tag around yours, do you? Really? You always thought that humans did. Well, if you want, we could get something rather similar to that. Assuming this first date goes well. Something that shows that you're mine and I'm yours. No, little kitty, I don't mean an actual collar. Well, I suppose I could get you one for your kitty form if you wanted. I had something a bit more romantic in mind. For instance, I know that matching necklaces are typically worn by couples. And since I do want to see you smile and maybe be a bit amused by my attempts at romantic gestures, perhaps we could try to pick a few of those out sometime. Would you like that, little kitty? Well, how can I say no to that adorable little face? Well, I suppose I could try, but let's face it, you're irresistible, little kitty. Now, how about we get comfortable and we enjoy this movie? And try not to make a mess of sauce while we're eating our spaghetti.